There we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome around the world. This is a Marines Disquisition. And if you have questions, the chat room is open. Blog Talk Radio chat room is open. The IM is open, and the phone bridge is open, and the phone number to the show is open, 347-308-8047. Bob Shamon, the most plagiarized financial newsletter on the planet. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you. Glad to be back again. And I see that you're after Nazi Pelosi. I'll tell you, I got some stuff that we're sending out to ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, asking them whether they want me on to discuss, will Pelosi pass health care using bizarre new rules? And, of course, she's nutty as a fruitcake, but, you know, that's the kind of person you could expect to represent the San Francisco Bay Area. That's just the way it is. She is, I've got a piece here that I've written and about this monstrosity. They have a Senate, a House, the requirement is that the House pass the Senate bill as it is currently written so that the Senate can then pass the Byrd Rule of Reconciliation. The House is balking due to the abortion language. The Senate bill has verbiage that would allow taxpayer-funded abortion. And then along comes what they call the slaughter solution. And this slaughter person is a henchwoman of Nazi Pelosi. And the House Rules Chairman is what she is. And she's weighing in, preparing a rule that would consider the Senate bill passed once the House approves a corrections bill that would make changes in the Senate version. And in order for this to be used, the House would have to consider the Senate bill as passed, even though the only way for that to be possible would be if the House passes it. I know this is confusing, but this is true. Which it does not have the votes to do. So we live in a world of surreal madness, and it goes on. I won't bore you with the whole thing, but they're trying to bypass all the rules because they don't have the votes, and it's unconstitutional, as Drew said. And so that's the kind of government we got in America. The last two administrations were dreadful. This one is every bit as dreadful in its own way. And you've got to unseat in the House and the Senate in November almost every incumbent if we're to have a chance of getting our country back. Otherwise, if we don't do that and we're not successful, there will be a revolution, and nobody in their right mind wants that. I don't have to tell you, you people know better than anybody. You've been there and you've done that, or been engaged in combat, etc., and it's no picnic. But that is the solution, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we got to try it. It's within the system. But that doesn't mean those of you who are retired or who no longer are in the Marines or any other branch of the service to be prepared for what could come in the future. And you do that by having food put away, dehydrated, freeze-dried foods, a water filter, and, of course, something that can reach out and touch people who want to harm you and your family. And also, if you have some wealth for investment, you want to be in gold and silver. And today in the markets, we saw massive manipulation again as the Treasury sold goo-gobs of 30-year bonds, and they were so afraid that this auction was not going to go well, that they try to pound gold again and silver as well, and they weren't successful. And that's to be expected, because I don't think they have any gold left. And even if they do, they don't want to sell any. And so they're doing it all through the derivative market, which is a make-believe market. And so today was actually a good day for the market in gold and silver. Stock market was up a little bit, up 45 points on no good news at all. And it's only a matter of time before the stock market comes down and more losses are taken by Americans and others as well. And it's only a matter of time before interest rates go up. And those people who are buying bonds got to have their heads examined chasing yields. I mean, these junk bonds are only yielding 5.5%, 5%. And for the risk involved, that's insanity. One of the things I learned as a stockbroker over 28 years and being involved in this area for 50 years, one thing I learned is you never, ever, ever chase a yield. That means if you're offered some bonds at 3% with a AAA rating, and you're offered bonds at, let's say, a B rating, the difference is about 3%. It's not worth it, because the bonds are rated for a reason. And the lower the rating, the higher the risk. And you don't want to assume that risk. So what you do is you don't buy them. And bonds are going to take a hammering one of these days. And there's going to be lots of money lost in that area as well. We're headed into higher inflation. Maybe we'll have hyperinflation. We'll see over the next couple of years. And as that winds down, and the sovereign debt of 19 countries which are bankrupt, which includes the United States and Great Britain, there's going to be a sovereign debt crisis, a big meeting. They'll devalue all the currencies, and they'll write off part of the debt. And that's what you get to look forward to. And when that happens, there won't be any inflation anymore. There'll be deflation, and you'll have a 10 or 20 or 30-year depression. And that, of course, will be accompanied by another war, which they will finance on both sides, so that you can go out and fight in a war that is a distraction from the economic and financial chaos that's on its way. And that's what you're being asked to do. And that's just the way it is. It's historical. People who have done these kind of things behind the scenes for centuries have done the same thing over and over and over. So it's nothing new. It's just that they don't teach you this in school because they don't want you to know what they're doing. And so anyway, that's where we're at today. I think gold's going higher from here, and much higher, as well as silver. And don't forget, you people who like to buy coins, silver coins you can get into with a few $100s. You can do that with small gold coins as well. So keep that in mind. And I don't sell any of this stuff. All I have is a publication. And incidentally, we could point you to people when you want to buy coins or shares who have long experience, low commissions, and they're honest. And we don't get anything from them, believe me. Never have. And so if you need help in that area, all you have to do is email.
And we've got a quick question here. How will the devaluation look like? How will the devaluation look like to the average person? I think he meant, what will the devaluation look like to the average person?
Well, I think what they're going to do is devalue the dollar, and this is what you're mainly interested in, probably one new one for 3 old ones. In other words, you lose 2/3 the value of your dollar. And that would mean that after the devaluation officially takes place, and probably every currency will be devalued. Once it takes place and the debt default takes place between nations, and I figure that'll be on the same ratio, 2/3 will be written off and 1/3 yet to be paid. The next step is that will be reflected in the value of the dollar, which would drop from $1 to 32.5 cents.